A few weeks back, I found an old diary. I found an old diary at a junk shop. It's, let's see, it's a small book. Some of the pages in it are torn, some of the handwriting's blurry, but it's generally in good shape. It's the wartime journal of one Private Stewart, who, as it happens, spent World War II working for a magazine, Yank, the magazine by the servicemen for the servicemen. On the opening page of the journal, in very neat handwriting, "No matter what I do, I keep remembering you." Cryptic, right? And kind of corny, so I looked it up, and it's from a song. I bought it on iTunes.
I was not like other guys, early to bed, early to rise. I was a man about town, dancing till dawn came creeping. Now my dancing shoes instead are safe at home, beneath my bed, and I just pace the bedroom floor. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4.
Good evening and welcome to the 10th anniversary concert of Yank. So my name is Bobby Steggert.
And I'm Ivan Hernandez.
And on this night, exactly 10 years ago, we were lucky enough to open Yank at the York Theater. I think we've aged pretty well, right? Yeah. So Joe and David will be out to talk about how the show itself has aged in the last 10 years in some very surprising ways. But before that, I'd just like to say that Ivan and I are so excited, so grateful to return to these words and to these songs.
I can't seem to fall asleep, my darling. I keep remembering you. Even as I'm counting sheep, my darling, I keep remembering you. Through the day, I may keep moving, searching high and low for someone new. But I'm afraid I'm in too deep. No matter what I do, I keep remembering you. Still awake and still remembering you. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I get up, I make coffee, make do all day long. I'm always tired, hoping please tonight I'll catch a few. But then 'neath starlight silver beams, when you should fill my dreams, I'm up remembering you. It's my turn to talk now. I'd like to take this moment to introduce the creators of Yank, Joseph and David Zellnik.
Hi, I'm David.
And I am Joe, and it's amazing to see you all here tonight. It's great to have such an enthusiastic crowd.
We are so moved that so many of the people from the original off-Broadway cast and from productions around the world have come here to celebrate this night with us. Thank you, Ivan. It gives me chills to hear that song again. And thank you, Bobby. Let me just say publicly that never in my life has an actor so grounded my process and allowed me to write more openly and emotionally than ever before, so thank you.
Of all the things that David and I have written, none of them have been as close to our hearts as Yank. And it's crazy, amazing crazy, but crazy to us that this little musical that ran for only 7 weeks 10 years ago off Broadway and hasn't been published, at least yet, has now been done around the country and around the world.
These past 10 years have brought so many amazing memories for us.
Like having the legendary Jonathan Tunick orchestrate our cast album. That was for me amazing.
For me, narcissistically perhaps, was having Sheldon Harnick lead a standing ovation at the York, something I will never forget. So
it's also been incredibly moving to us to get personal notes from gay men and women who lived through this era who talk about how much the show means to them.
And from teenagers, one of whom demanded that his father drive him 8 hours to see the production in Chicago.
We have a lot of stuff planned for you tonight, so we should probably get started on that.
We're pretty confident most of you know what the show is about, but just in case, it is about a scared Midwestern kid named Stu, that would be Bobby, as he faces two of the scariest things he can imagine: war,
In this case, World War II.
and first love.
In this case, with a fellow soldier named Mitch, and that would be Ivan. After Remembering You, which is basically just a prologue, and it's actually not only the first song in the show, but it's the first song that we wrote for show.
Side note, when Sondheim's book on lyrics came out a few years ago, he mentioned how the first line of a lyric in a show sets the tone for the whole show, and I was so thrilled when I realized the first line of Yank is, "I was not like other guys."
Anyway, on to our title song. In it, we flash back to 1943. As our hero, Stu, arrives at basic training and is handed an unfamiliar magazine.
Yank, the serviceman's journal.
Yank.
Not pompous or pious. Says it's for us and by us, the men of no rank. Get their stories told in
Yank.
They pump it out weekly.
Yank.
It ain't for the fickle. And it's only a nickel. Just regular types, airing their gripes. Not stiff and boring like Stars and Stripes.
Ladies and gentlemen, also from the original off-Broadway company, please welcome Tally Sessions, David Perlman, Joseph Medeiros, Denis Lambert, and Todd Faulkner. And from our original cast album, Ross, Lekites.
All right, shitheads, get in line. Your company C.
Picture 1,000 guys just enlisted, herded together like beef. Heads up our asses, scared we look dumb till we're handed magazines. To tell us what we've become is a Yank.
There's jokes you'll be using.
ups.
That's him.
Yank.
There's jokes you'll be using.
And the jokes ain't confusing.
Sarge says our squad has turned out movie perfect, whatever that means.
Charles Sikowski, Brooklyn.
Abner Scoots, Chattanooga.
Vittorio Rotelli, Sicily.
Simon Porchester, Boston.
Hiram Cohen, Seattle.
Mitch Adams, Trenton.
Great, I got one of every kind. Jesus, you're even sorrier than the last pieces of crap they sent me. They are scraping the bottom of the barrel. Where were you in 42 when we needed you? Come on, move it!
You were a businessman, pre-induction.
You were a man of the world. Now you're a dog face, rest is a blur. You're forgetting who you was. 'Cause whatever you were, now you're a Yank. You're searching for comfort. Ain't had it for ages, except inside of the pages of Yank. A friend you can turn to. A friend you can turn to. The fellows who write it. Makes you feel all united. No matter your rank, you're a somebody to Yank. The serviceman's journal. Oh yeah. Connects you to millions. And it ain't for civilians. In bunk, tent, tank, where there's army, there's a Yank. there's army, there's a Yank. Where there's army, there's a Yank.
If any of you don't know, Yank was actually a real magazine. We didn't make that up.
So, looking at this stage, there is no denying that Yank is a mostly male show. But it isn't completely male. There is one woman in the cast who plays all the female roles. And we did that so that a gaggle of one-scene female characters could be transformed into a leading role. A chance for one actress of multifaceted talents to deliver a bravura performance.
Which is a tall order, but we already knew who we were writing it for. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a fantastic friend, Nancy Anderson. And I had such fun writing the fake 40s radio introductions, I'm going to do one. Next up on Musical Mailbag, a singer who's got more bounce than a kangaroo with a vacancy. Dedicated to the men of the infantry, here are the super song stylings of Helen Ray.
Army came, took my flame. My man done changed and how. He cooks and cleans and does latrines. I guess he doesn't need me now. He used to like my cooking, now he likes this thing called Spam. It comes in a tin. And how he'd pet and paw me back before his army began. Woo! Now when he's home on leave, that brute's polite as politeness can be. Instead of romance, I get salutes, or he sits and fondles his army boots. He used to smother me like honey on a honey ham. I'm the saddest gal, what am? I lost my man to Uncle Sam. He used to be a scrawny 98-pound ball of nerve.
The boy was scrappy, slapdash, and happy.
He loafed the day away, snacking on my
Cherry preserves.
He isn't scrawny now, God bless. His thighs are the size of a tree.
Doo-wah.
His shoulders are brawny.
Wow.
Oh yes, but it ain't for me, it's for Uncle S. I miss the man who was a lion to my baby lamb.
Bye-bye, baby lamb.
I'm the saddest gal, what am? I lost my man to dear Uncle Sam. I know you're tall and manly with a fine set of whiskers, but ain't 15 million men enough for you? Do you have to take mine too, whisk him halfway around the world and give him pretty jewelry like silver stars and gold medals? Good Lord, Sam, there's no one left to dance with.
He used to whisper tender nothings neath the harvest moon.
I miss my dumb, clumsy oath.
Now all he talks about are fellas in his army platoon.
Doesn't he care about this or this?
Here's the laundry now, cooks too.
His meatloaf is better than mine.
True.
Oh, I'm in a quandary.
Do tell.
I'm blue. Should I throw this lug out for someone new?
But everywhere you look, the army's pulled the same old scam.
Some scam.
She's the saddest gal what am.
Sad as peanut butter. Mine is jam.
To call her gorgeous, now it's ma'am.
I lost my man to a man named Uncle. Oh well, if you can't beat 'em, Women's Army Corps, here I come.
Uncle Sam.
Some of you might notice that a few of the original cast members from the off-Broadway version are not here tonight. All of them had wanted to be here, but a few of them got last-minute gigs that kept them out of the city. So we want to say to Chris Ruth, Zach Edwards, and Andrew Durand, we love you and we miss you.
This next song is my personal favorite in the show. And in it, Stu and the rest of the squad have finished basic training and are now on a train headed for the coast where they'll ship out to the war in the Pacific. And on the train, Tennessee pulls out his collection of girly photos.
Pinups, of course, were everywhere during World War II. A completely wholesome reminder of what the men were fighting for. The most popular pinups were American movie stars like Betty Grable, but their appeal was international. They were something that American and, let's just say, forced transition, British soldiers could bond over.
In the spirit of that bonding, we are happy now to introduce the amazing performers who played Mitch and Stu in London, Andy Coxon and Scott Hunter.
Am I the wrong place?
No, you're on the end.
Oh, good.
That's it. You got it.
I wasn't at rehearsal.
See what happens.
That's right.
Just look at that. Could you put her away and sleep? Not me. No, I can tell she's ready for some Tennessee loving. Darling Betty, you look soft as can be, helpless as a calico kitten caught in a tree. I'm breathless, I'm sighing, there's no denying I enjoy what I see. Lucky me.
Darling Betty, maybe you'll understand. We're as lost and lonely as sailors 6 months from land, and restless as that little lamb when Mary's out of sight. I need someone to hold me tight.
Betty, Betty, months, years, I'll be without except for you on demand. And my hand, how am I supposed to sleep tonight surrounded by guys? Darling Betty, if you only were here, I would kiss you, hold you, and whisper soft in your ear. And all the sweet forbidden things the army don't allow, I try on you tonight, hold you good and tight. This sleeping car would be all right if you were here with me tonight.
Give me another picture. This one's sticky.
Stu's turn anyway. How about it, kid?
Darling Betty, do your magic on me. Make your hips, your kissable lips exciting to see. And all the good and normal things that other fellas do, you'll make me wanna do. Betty, I like Betty.
Looks like Betty's got her hooks in him too.
Darling Betty,
Body is aching,
you
can
look
you feel
soft as
me
can
near?
be.
I
Flying
didn't
like
want a
a
kitten caught in a tree.
Give me just a
Breathless, your
moment
lips
of
I need someone to hold tonight.
But don't tell Ethel.
Steady, steady, for I'm liable to burst your ass so rosy and round and renowned. Now Betty Davis is fine for your paw,
And Patty Crocker is good for your ma.
And Betty Hutton is cute as a button.
but as for me, give me Grable, she's the Betty of mine. How I wish your body was here with which to entwine.
A piston needs a place to pump.
A rooster needs a hen, but here it's only men, men and men again. So dreams will have to hold me tight tonight, tonight, tonight. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
How great are Scott and Andy? You would never, ever know that they were British. We're going to talk a little more about the London production in just a little bit, and Scott and Andy will be back for more numbers.
In this part of the show, we get a pivotal book scene that we can't really do in a cabaret space, where Stu and Mitch kiss, and then things go south. But then a new character appears, Artie Goldberg, a roving photographer for Yank magazine. Of course, Yank's tagline everywhere and in every production has been some stories don't make it into the history books. But this character was the one most influenced by the history that we did find doing the research.
Many of those stories came from a book called Coming Out Under Fire by Alan Berube. And we think it's important to mention that book because it was the first major work of history that talked about gay men and women during World War II, and it was one of our main inspirations for writing this show.
I was so thrilled when Alan saw an early version of Yank not long before he passed away. For those of you who know the show, you will understand my great joy when he said, "The Gone with the Wind girls would have adored your putting them on stage." Some of the things Berube talks about are the secret codes and catchphrases men use to signal their interest in each other.
And since one of those codes involved tapping your foot outside a public restroom, no judgments, we immediately decided that Artie should be a tapper. A debonair Fred Astaire-style song and dance man, which was intended to be a great introduction for our next guest, Jeffrey Denman.
But I am afraid we have to announce a change in plans tonight. Jeffrey was set to perform his big number, Click, but unfortunately a family emergency called him yesterday out of the city, and though we're very sad that he can't be here, please join me in sending positive vibes for him and his family.
We still wanted to give you a little taste of that Artie energy as he attempts to pick Stu up in a serviceman's club. And though Jeffrey is really basically irreplaceable, we have found a last-minute replacement. Maybe not the best tapper. In fact, he's not really a tapper at all, but he was available, and he's already standing on the stage. So, I give you David Zellnik.
I will try my best to do Jeffrey Denman proud. Every dance has a tune played for it. Every glove has a mate made for it. How do you find your match? How do you pick? Follow your heart and follow your... You know, I always worried that I was going to be making Artie too sleazy, but then I thought, you know, number one, sleazy can be awesome. And then I thought, number two, no one's really sleazy when they tap. We click, we're travelers, thumb in the same ride, play the same game for the same side, common interests, common set of needs. We click, our lips are willing and able, let's play ping pong neath the table, couple rounds and darling, we'll see who leads. I'm not saying you're the love of my life, I'm not saying there are stars in your eyes. All I'm saying is it's time to get wise. Worlds at war, rules are suspended, whole world's upended. Quick, let's click, I'll let you unmask me. I won't bite, kid, unless you ask me. Stick with me and baby, you'll see it's true. Sky's the limit when you are two. Who? Tap, tap, tap. You have to imagine me tapping right now. Stu is entranced. There's more of us than you imagine. Especially in the Marines, trust me. Now's our chance, nations distracted. About time we acted. Click with guys who you'll wanna mess with a press pass to impress with. Pick your partner well, and I'm telling you, there's more fellas dreaming the same dream too. Ooh. Click.
awesome, right?
I was so nervous.
So we told you we would tell you a little bit more about the London production. London is a city that both of us love a lot, and it is a theater town like New York. So it meant so much to have a production, to both of us, to have a show there.
We actually flew over for nearly the entire rehearsal process so we could make some final tweaks.
And we were totally thrilled with the final product. And rather than try to explain why, we thought we would give you a little taste thanks to this slick video they made as a commercial.
Yank, a friend you can turn, a friend you can thank. The fellas who ride in makes you feel all united, no matter your rank. You're a somebody to Yank. The serviceman's journal connects you to millions, and it ain't for civilians in bunk, tent, tent.
I know the future is far from clear, but we're together, standing together. That's what lovers do.
I'd sacrifice the world to stay with you.
Where there's army, there's a Yank. Where there's army, there's a Yank. Where there's army, there's a Yank.
And now, here are two standouts from that London cast, Scott Hunter, who you've already seen once tonight, and Sarah-Louise Young.
Oh, do I speak here? Hold on, hold. Is this me? Is this my story? I have a story. When I was auditioning for drama schools, when I was 17, going on 18, and I was looking for a song, and I came across a video of Just True, Bobby singing Just True. The album wasn't out, the music wasn't available, so I knew I had to use it. I knew that I wanted to use the song as soon as I heard the line, "What we have is special, what we are is not." And I had someone down in London town transcribe it for me, and used it for my drama school audition, and I got the 3 best responses you can have, which are, "We don't know that. That's really good. Come on in." So I managed to get in with it. So yeah, Yank is the gift that keeps on giving, and it's also my first time here and my first time in New York. So it feels really good. Feels really good. Anyway, moving on. February 5th. We arrive halfway around the world. Artie got us into the office of General MacArthur himself, because his secretary's an old college pal. Turns out, she's one of us.
Gotta be twice as good as normal fellows. Ain't fair, but there it is. Why? Look at me. The minute I joined up, I knew exactly how to behave. I swear like a soldier. It puts men at ease. I'm careful with pronouns. My she's become he's. One must fit in, my boy. That's understood, so I don't sweat it. Get it? Got it? I'm spit, polished, perfect, with gals on my crew. I chit-chat, I banter. They don't have a clue. I serve with honor, kid, just as I should. Uniform makes me feel essential. Rest is confidential. Get it? Got it? But when the uniform's off, I get up to some high times. Lips get looser, back in Hackensack, I gotta walk, do I love her? Yes, I do, sir. There's a little old club there where lavender ladies are having a ball in a rental hall. My gal can swing to the music and dance, help a leather. We ring in the morning, clinging together. But then the army will call. Then I come back and don't regret it. Strive to be a credit. Get it? Got it?
But Secretary, what I really want to know is, does the general suspect?
Last month, he heard a rumor that there might be lesbians in his outfit. He ordered me to write a list of all possible offenders. I said I'd be happy to, but the first name on the list would be mine. He withdrew the order. He needs me, and he knows it. And he knows I'll never bring it up again. That's, not for publication. And kid, that's just the facts. We're misunderstood. Still, you be proud and don't forget it. Always strive to be a credit. Get it? Got it? Good. Thank you very much. So, sharing a stage and a dressing room with 11 young men was an education. I learnt a lot, most of which I can't repeat here on this stage for the laws of decency. What's amazing about this show is across all of the different productions, every single cast has become a family. And we've been here, there's 3 of us from the UK, we've been busy WhatsApping all of our previous casts and they've been sending pictures and things. And it is an amazing family across the world. But as the only lady, you know, it's not that it was lonely, it's just that I spent a lot of time on my own, mostly backstage, changing wigs. So coming here and getting to meet 3 of my Yank sisters has been so amazing. So it gives me huge pride to introduce all the way from Australia, the legend that is Naomi Pryce.
G'day, everybody. It's such a privilege to be here tonight representing the first Australian cast of Yank, and I'm also making my New York debut tonight too. Audiences down under loved this show, and we were all so touched and moved by the connection that audiences had to this story. And we do actually have a video, I think, of the audience responses.
Everybody in it was so talented.
The music's fantastic, the cast is phenomenal. Get your tickets.
It's honestly just a really great show. It's feel good the whole time, even though there are parts where it's really touching. I cried, I'll be honest.
Just a stunning piece of theatre, really strong performances. The acting was great, everyone did such a good job, and it's a story that everyone should come and see.
I can't believe I've never heard of the musical before. It's so good.
The music is really incredible.
The music's fantastic.
Yeah.
Singing and dancing was really, really enjoyable. It's a first for me, and I'll come again.
Fantastic show, great story, loved it. It was beautifully told, sung even more beautifully. The music's incredible. Get along to see it. If you don't have tickets already,
look now.
Yank debuted last July in Brisbane, Australia, and I was the last cast member to join the process. So the boys started rehearsing a week before I got there. And, you know, like Sarah-Louise said, you know, the female role in this show is very kind of standalone. You kind of weave in and out of the scenes that the boys are doing. So I'd read the script, but I was mainly focused on learning how to be 11 different women in the same show. And I was not ready for the emotional onslaught that was watching our Stu and our Mitch, Andy Johnston and Alex Gibson-Giorgio in their scenes together, to the point where I had to stand in the wings with my hands over my ears at one point because I had to come on and sing after a scene that upset me so much. I couldn't get it back together, and I've already cried 3 times today. So I'm so happy that I get to sing this song for you tonight. It's probably my favourite from the show, and the role for the female is such a playground of characters and moods, but this is probably my favourite. It's very sexy and evocative.
Blue twilight, a strange new glow two pairs of eyes suddenly meeting, scared what they'll show. Blue twilight, when the day seems to pause, wondering which way to go. Oh me, oh my heart's in a tizzy, caught in the blue. The stars and I are itching to get busy, waiting on you on blue twilight. Why so slow? Maybe my love is waiting on moonbeams, his feelings to show. So twilight, now it's time to take flight for two new lovers. We'll be blue tonight.
We're so incredibly lucky she came here. Joe was able to go down to Australia to see the production in Brisbane, but I was not able to, and he raved about her and the whole cast, and so I'm just so thrilled she's here, so thank you.
I do have a personal favorite line in Blue Twilight, and I still remember reading it for the first time when David handed me the lyric to set. And the line is, when the day seems to pause, wondering which way to go. And like lots of lines and other lines in this song have shifted over time as we rewrote the moment, but that line has always stayed the same.
Thanks, Jay-Z. That line actually makes a great transition to 2011.
What are the odds?
The year when Yank itself seemed to pause, wondering which way to go. As most of you in the room know, we, after playing an extended run at the York, we were optioned for Broadway.
I can't really tell you much about why the show didn't go to Broadway, except simply the money wasn't there.
There wasn't the money, it turned out.
But even if a Broadway production hasn't happened yet, we feel like the rewrites that we made in the pre-Broadway workshops ended up making Yank a better show. Not a different show, really, just a richer, better version of itself.
One of our big decisions during that time was to move the intermission one scene earlier. That made it imperative to write a big song for the scene, because now it was the end of the act and a climax of the slow-moving, slowly building Stu Mitch love story. It is set on a black coral reef in the South Pacific at sundown, where Mitch and Stu finally hash out their feelings.
Personal little side note here. This song took us a long, long time to write. One of the reasons it took us a long time to write is that when we were just starting the writing process, I broke my right hand. So it was in a cast for weeks, and then I had to do physical therapy, and all this time we had a deadline of a Broadway workshop coming up. So, well, to cut to the chase, it's the only song I have ever written, or at least partially written, with one hand.
And since it was not actually in the off-Broadway production, we thought we'd invite our actors from London back, Andy Coxon and Scott Hunter.
Mitch, Tchaikovsky and all the guys are worried about you. What happened with Cohen? Tell
This
me
isn't about him, Stubby. How much I gotta say to get through? I had a man die in my arms. A guy I know die in my arms. And all I could think of was you. How happy I was that it wasn't you. You, who I tried to forget, who I wanted to hate. Why were you still there in my mind? Some kid I met so many months ago. Your face, the jokes you made, stupid things. I tried to cut them out. I cursed your name, but still in my heart was you. It must mean that somehow I'm tied to you. Why? 'Cause it doesn't make sense. And I don't understand, but that day I felt this feeling, an ache so strong, I just knew. My heart has been lost to you. Maybe it's the moon, or the waves, or the stars. Or maybe I'm drunk and I'm scared, but that night on the train I fucked up. I fucked up. I know you don't get two chances, but somehow I did this time. This time, can I? Promise you'll stay, promise you'll try. Tonight there's no war, just the sky and the waves and you.
That was so beautiful. Thank you, guys.
And intermission. Don't get up. This is where intermission would go in the show.
So we thought this might be a good time to celebrate some of the people who helped make Yank the show it was.
Think of it as a living playbill that you might thumb through while you're waiting in line in the bathroom.
And if you're a man, you're waiting on a long line for the bathroom.
Only instead of the people that you see on the stage, we want to talk about the people behind the scenes.
Some of our off-Broadway producers are in the house, and we want to thank them. Maren Berthelsim, Jim Kierstead, Stuart Wilk, Jim Morgan from the York, and Matt Schicker. We want to give a special shout out to Matt Schicker because his connection to the show, his first connection was actually as a reviewer of our Nymph show in 2005, and he gave us a great write-up, and a year later he checked back with us to see what was happening with the show.
At that time, it was just sitting in a drawer. Nobody else had wanted to pick it up.
They said it was too gay.
People said that for years, yeah. Surprise.
So Matt offered us a spot in his basement theater in Brooklyn, and we said yes, and it turns out that critics can help musical theater.
Also in our audience tonight is our fabulous director, Igor Golden. He directed Yank in that basement in Brooklyn. He directed the very first table read, and he directed us all the way to the off-Broadway production at the York.
And Igor isn't the only director we owe a deep debt of gratitude to. During the pre-Broadway workshop, we worked with a little-known director from Chicago, who I'm not sure many of you have heard of, named David Cromer.
I don't know what happened to him.
We don't know. Did he win a Tony? I don't know. Something happened. Our work with David made a richer script, and it also helped us add 4 new songs that are still in the show that we adore. Get It, Got It Good, You, Light on Your Feet, and My Soldier. So thank you, David.
And speaking of the score, I want to thank Rob Berman, who did not only such a beautiful job conducting our album, but whose history with the show goes back to 2005 at NYMF. His husband, Chase Brock, also choreographed that production at NYMF back when we had a 17-and-a-half-minute Agnes DeMille-style Dream Ballet in the second act.
We 100% earned that exclamation point in that production. So this actually seems like a great time to introduce the band that is here, all of whom are also part of the Yank family.
I can't tell you how much it means to me to have musicians who have come back and played the show over and over again, who also really love the material. And so on reeds, we have Todd Groves. On cello, Allison Seidner. And on drums, Larry Lelly, who played some of the original demos back in 2003. And at the piano is our wonderful musical director, who is literally part of the Yank family because he is my husband, Andrew Gerlach. But in all honesty, he's so talented, I would have hired him even if I wasn't married to him.
So it is time for more music. Before we return to the score, here is a song many of you might not know. There's an old saw that musicals are not written, they are rewritten, and so many songs get cut. This next song is one of those songs. We thought we'd share with you a cut song that we just love.
And to sing it, we're going to bring our friend Nancy Anderson back up.
Nancy and I were roommates a ways back.
We were in the early 90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah, all right, mid-90s.
Late 90s. Who's counting?
Sort of mid, early mid. Yeah, and I had a record player and all the records that, all my dad's jazz records, we listened to a lot of records.
David and I grew up with the musicals of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and we knew those very well, but we didn't really know the pop music of the times as well. Nancy had, taught us on a lot of
Artie
that. She
Shaw
schooled
and
us.
Glenn Miller.
Yeah, Louis Armstrong's Hot Five and a lot of, Helen Forrest and things like that.
In any event, the song that we are going to do for you was written fairly early on, and we didn't really know how it should be sung. It was for a scene that got cut, and when we played it for Nancy, she had a wonderful idea.
Well, see, you're in the mid-90s, I sang for a wealthy elderly congressman's birthday, and he was a big fan of Benny Goodman and of Artie Shaw and stuff like that. And he came up to me and he said, "Nancy, you remind me of one of my favorite singers." And I thought, oh, is he going to say Helen Forrest or Joe Stafford? And he says, "Kate Smith." For those of you who don't know Kate Smith, she was famous for singing, "God Bless America." I mean, it was a little bit of a letdown. Anyway, so I was like, well, what if this song, this song is a swing tune, but it has a bit of squareness to it. And I thought, well, what if it's one of those tunes, that was sung by one of the 20s stars who they dragged out of retirement in the 40s to come sing with the swing bands.
And I'm going to play it for you, just like we did in the
Woo,
old days.
just like the old days, just us writing things. Well, they wrote, I sang. I know there's a lot that you'll be missing while you're overseas. I know that there'll be plenty of bait in ports far from these 48. So please, 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 fellas, please. Don't you go tomcatting around your peacetime this and that and around. Babe, you better batten them down. Remember, there's a war on. Soldier, sailor, flyer, marine. I know that no one seems to know the troubles you've seen, but don't begin the begin, not without your queen. Put it in your dance for the demonstration, put it in the dance for the nation, keep it in your pants for the duration. Soon we'll be in Berlin and Tokyo. Things will be okie dokey-o. So show the world your muscle and grit until the day when Hitler gets hit. Then it's homeboys lickety-split for the kisses. Your missus missing more and more while we're winning the war. Wait, sublimate till you win this war.
Ooh, okay. Time to get back to the show proper. We're going to bring out Bobby and Ivan to do the first major song in Act 2.
November 16th, third night on the ship, and while all the fellas were watching some picture called The Bright Beyond, Mitch stole a candle, some cheap vino, and we found a security closet that was empty. Now, what a lovely night. Mitch telling me all sorts of stories about life just east of Trenton and about our lives together after the war.
There's a house in my hometown. I already put a payment down. It's not so grand.
The perfect size
for a couple of regular guys.
If there's one song in Yank that exemplifies what we were hoping to do with the score, it's this one.
We knew that if we were going to write a score set in the 40s, that some people might ask, why don't you just use those amazing songs that they wrote in the 40s? And we decided we had to write every song so that it was a song that could never have been written in that era.
Songs on subjects that couldn't have been covered back then. So a song about domestic life and love between two men, yeah, that works.
I'll make some dough and we'll make do.
Give it a paint job, navy blue.
I'll even add a patio for a sexy XG. I'll know. I know it's difficult to imagine it now, here in a world that's going mad.
But picture the two of us on some lazy day,
when bombs away is just a game kids play.
So we knew that New York audiences would totally know the models for this song and understand it as a loving homage to Rodgers and Hammerstein.
But when we received a request to do the show in Brazil, we had no idea what audiences there would make of it.
So we thought it would be fun for you to see exactly what they made of it, literally.
And in Portuguese. It is now my great pleasure to introduce the actor who played Stu in Rio de Janeiro, which was an award-winning production.
We won Best Musical in Brazil.
Never happened anywhere. He was a magnificent Stu, and he has now become a good friend. I am honored to introduce Hugo Bonemer.
Oh my God.
Hi.
Na cidade em que nasci, a casa dos sonhos garante, e ela é boa até demais para casal de rapazes normais. É só pintar, trabalho a dois. Não vai ser fácil, mas depois eu chamo pra morar ali soldado que eu conheci. Eu sei, não é fácil não de imaginar, o mundo está pra acabar. Mas pense só em nós dois, verão normal. Batalha naval é só jogo banal. And late at night when we're alone, neighbors in houses of their own will thank this goddamn war for having met. As happy and secure and financially set as a couple of regular guys, a couple of regular guys can get.
It is always a pleasure to see one's work travel the world and in a different culture. It is a specific kind of pleasure to see your work in a different language. Actually, going to Brazil and seeing Yank and having Yank done coincided with me learning Portuguese. So I was not able to translate it, but I was able to proof the script, and I thought you'd enjoy one mistake they made. The translators actually did an amazing job. Meneliki and Vitor actually won a prize for it. But I thought you'd be amused by one embarrassing mistake they made before we caught it. In Betty, they translated steady, steady, for I'm liable to burst, your ass so rosy and round and renowned, to Betty, Betty, for I'm liable to burst your ass.
That's really not the same thing at all, huh? So, on to something totally different. This is our ode to military camaraderie, and it is the most musical comedy song in the score. And to do it, we want to welcome back members of the original off-Broadway platoon.
To set it up, Tennessee has just witnessed Mitch and Stu kiss at the end of UU, and while he hasn't snitched yet, he pretty aggressively tells Stu to get lost, and Tchaikovsky does not take that very well. And, are we doing the verse? And in keeping with the theme of cut material, we thought it might be fun for you to hear a verse that we wrote for the song, which we lost a very long time ago, but here it is again. Do you know? No?
I'm great. Let's do it. Sure, the movies may seem like crap. Heroes dying to an angel choir, and they try a bit too hard to inspire. Sure, no piss, no blood, no gore. But there's one thing on which they got it right, on which they really know the score. Seems to me your squad is your squad.
You tell him, Tchaikovsky.
Thick or thin, every man in your squad is your squad, is your squad. Didn't that stinking film teach you nothing? Didn't it make you cry? Watching old Speedy tie to save his buddies. Sure, some guys are smelly or odd, like you, Ravioli. Hey! Some you like, some you would ransom. Some are a pain, some are handsome. But everyone is needed, son, till there's assistance from God. Your squad is your squad, and your squad is your squad. Now, tell Stu you're sorry. You don't gotta love him, but you gotta accept him. Ravioli, help me out.
Seems to me your squad is your squad. Seems to me your squad is your squad.
Tall to tall face in the foe. Your squad is your squad. Is your squad.
Say there's bombs, troops getting pounded.
Say that you trapped, you surrounded. You'll cast your lot with them's you got. Fella, when push comes to prod, your squad is your squad.
Is your squad.
Is your squad.
But where were Mitch and Stu while all of us were watching the movie?
What? You jealous of a couple of lovebirds?
Of course Mitch loves Stu. I love my body. Professor, you know what I do for you. I chew my arm through for you, chew straight through, yes indeed. As long as you were safe and free from harm, only one arm I'd need.
And you'd look real spiffy with one arm, too.
Oh, you're too kind.
But seriously, that's nothing. I'd pay the gods any price. The ultimate sacrifice, do it twice if I could. I'd throw my only glasses overboard. Swear to the Lord I would.
You'd be blind, but I'd lead you around the battlefield.
Aww.
And Tennessee, say you're annoying me, hypothetically. Still I'd swoop in quick to save your dumb hick hide. There's no task I would not do. Fight till I'm black and bloody blue for you. And feel like I won the lottery. Knowing we got such strong camaraderie.
You don't understand.
I understand plenty. You're being a dick.
But where were they during the movie? Stu, answer me. Where were you?
Seems to me your squad is your squad.
Is your squad.
Is your squad.
Is your squad.
We're your crew fighting for you.
Be true to your crew.
To review.
Some of the time you're glum.
Some you're cranky.
Some days are just the pits. Wish you could call it quits.
But look around you, Jesus Christ, we make a nice squad.
In or out, make a decision.
Spare us your gripes,
your derision,
and be a friend. At least pretend.
All that we need is a nod.
Fine.
Your squad is your squad is your squad is your squad is your goddamn squad.
There are two more major numbers in the show, and major numbers tonight. And for the first time, we're actually going to reverse the order that they come in.
To perform the first one, we have a special guest. First, let me say that I don't follow contemporary music. I know that'll be a big surprise to you. But around 2004, a friend of mine said, there's this new artist, this new album you really need to listen to. He said I would love it, and I did. I immediately fell in love with this performer's voice and her style.
As did I.
And that artist was Nellie Makai.
We were so thrilled when Nellie...
I swear she's here, yeah.
We were so thrilled when she came on for the pre-Broadway workshops.
We were even more thrilled when David Cromer asked us to write a new song just for her. And I was a little intimidated because you're a pretty good songwriter on your own.
He asked for a new song because the way we had redone Act 2 meant that the woman only had one short comic musical number at the start of Act 1, and he felt, and we agreed, that she needed a song at the end of the act so that the audience could say goodbye to her.
Next up, a song I know you're going to hear a lot of in the coming months. It's about our boys coming home. Who's at the door? I've seen you before, my soldier. Come, set down your kit, your slippers still fit. You haven't changed a bit, my soldier. You've got the same brown eyes I dreamed of, same goofy grin. And though the rest of the world has changed so, my man knows, same old Joe. have to speak, just nuzzle my cheek. Hey, hi there. Then pour us a few and start into wooing, and hold me close as I sigh. My soldier's home from the war. You're a soldier no more, just my adorable ordinary guy. Well, you know, I did this song with a whole bunch of guys. Ooh, what testosterone. And you know, I can't say I minded it. I felt like Anne Francis on the set of Forbidden Planet. But this is a pleasure to welcome a choir of angels. Ladies, please. Shall we have one? We were apart,
but not in my heart, my soldier.
I counted the days.
I nearly went crazy. It's like the 4th of July. My soldier's home from the war.
You're a soldier no more.
Just here and kissable, Mr. Just My Guy.
This is what I was praying for.
The day you'd say hello once more and bid this war goodbye.
Bye-bye.
It was never our so much. It was never our intention that Yank would be a political piece, except in the fact that a love story between two soldiers set during World War II was always going to be seen as political. But when Yank opened off-Broadway, it was still, amazingly, during the Don't Ask, Don't Tell period, and critics certainly saw it that way.
But when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, and then when the Supreme Court made same-sex marriage legal, there was some concern that the show's moment had passed and that it was no longer topical. And then, unfortunately, we hit 2016.
The day after Trump was elected was actually the day the news was officially announced that Yank would have its first production out of the country in Manchester, UK. And I wanted to post the good news on Facebook. Meanwhile, everyone in my world and in the world of sane people was shocked and horrified and full of grieving, as I was too. But I still wanted people to know, so I wrote that in moments like these, it can be hard to know the value of art, but that I have to believe that true stories that had been erased from history, that show how to be brave in a scary world, have to still matter.
And now we're living in a time that shows great progress for gay people, but also shows a backlash not only here, but around the world. And we believe that in times like these, that gay people and our allies have to find strength in each other. And in that spirit, we would like to bring up all three of our global stews to do just true.
For our final song. Thank you.
Before we do it, David and Joe asked me to speak a bit because, unfortunately, Brazil is one of the countries they refer to. I could say a lot about this, but basically you would just tell me this is happening the same way here. So What I want to say is how Yank was important to us in Brazil, how it actually inspired other productions. After that, this was the first gay role in a musical we had in Brazil. In my personal life, I need to say how important it was. It gave me the courage to go out publicly. This is something no other young actor had done in Brazil. Thank you. I got a text from my dad saying, "Congratulations, you have the most famous ass in Brazil right now." So I'd like to say to all Brazilian fans of Yank, just a moment. Pessoal, a gente vai voltar com a peça. Eu espero de coração que dê certo e essa peça com certeza vai continuar inspirando muita gente ainda, which basically means we're coming back with Yank. Let's do it.
Don't run away, Mitch. You can't outrun this.
Run from me. If you feel you have to, you can't run from you.
Don't you see?
What we have is special. What we are is not. We're two of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm surprised as you. It isn't something good or bad, just true.
Listen, Mitch, we're in a battle we've never planned, but we're together, standing together. That's what people do, which isn't right or wrong, just something true.
No going back, not now. Too many know to go back and hide, to go back in disguise. Hundreds of thousands who felt lost and alone before have found each other in the war. Now we're wise.
The freaks are us regular guys. You can't unlearn what you know is true.
You can't unlearn what you know.
I'm glad they see us.
I'm glad they see
They
us.
can see us, means that we can too. They'll have to understand we've earned our due. And that's just true.
And that's just true.
And that's just true.
I know the future is far from clear, but we're together, standing together in a world that's new. They'll have to understand it's our world too, and that's just true. Just true.
We wish we could do the whole show for you tonight, but we hope you'll have many chances in the future to see it.
One exciting thing for us is that for the first time it will be done by high school students down in Florida later this year.
And in another first, it is going to be a female-identified human who finds the journal, and she will be playing Stu for the entire journey of Yank. So we're very excited. And we only had to lightly expurgate the script.
We just cut the word fuck.
They're soldiers. It turns out they say fuck a lot, so we had to cut it. As we finish, we want to thank a lot of people who are too numerous to mention, so we can't thank them by name. But we want to thank everything they did 10 years ago, and we want to thank the people around the world who have embraced Yank and who have made it happen, all the actors, the producers, everyone who's done
We also want to thank everybody here at 54 Below for making us feel so welcome and for making tonight a success. And, of course, we want to thank our wonderful cast. We'd like to bring them all up on stage now, especially international cast members who flew in here from all the way around the world.
Finally, one more thing. When we asked Bobby to do this event, he only made one official request, that he'd be able to do the final speech, which occurs after Stu and Mitch's love story has ended on its bittersweet note. Stu closes the journal and becomes the narrator we met at the beginning.
And before I start, I just want to say that when I was offered Stu in the 2005 production at NYMF, I turned it down. I didn't know much about the show, and I think that without context, I assumed that a World War II gay love story would be campy or cheesy, and so I missed out. And then 2 years later, they were kind enough to invite me to play Stu again, and they sent me the updated script. And when I got to this speech that I'm about to do, I knew I had to play the role because it had something to teach me. And that's the last entry. Though in the margins, in faint, small handwriting, Mitch died today, May 12th, 1962, age 43. Official cause of death, heart attack, but even Becky says it was the alcohol. Guess the war's finally over. And that's it. I don't know anything else about Stu. A few times in the journal he talks about publishing it. I hope he tried to, even though no one ever did. I hope he got lots of incensed rejection letters from homophobic publishers. I also hope that he had a lot of lovers and friends, and that the fact that this journal ended up in a junk shop is not some sort of verdict. You know, sometimes I lie in bed and I wonder if I could be brave like Stu was. I lie in bed and I look at the person I'm with, and I think, what does it really cost me to be in love, to be with anyone? And would I have been as brave as Stu was? I hope I could have been. He shows me the right way to love freely, with no time to waste. No, wait, this is my favorite part of the song.
Through the day